It's a little bit of a special situation, but it's a situation that we've been able to handle. So, as you might notice on GamerLegion, there is a new name. That is the name of Mr. Officer.gl, the coach of GamerLegion. You will also notice that the rounds have been reset back to 0-0. What has happened is that Sloth has had a non-player issue. It is Ubisoft, or the game has actually kicked him out of the game, and the admins and Ubisoft have both confirmed that this is not a player issue. It is a very, very special circumstance, and with the permission from Granit Gaming, with the permission that is from the enemy team on the what's it with the what's it called, Des?
It's all right.
Condition. Yes, that's the one. That's what I'm looking for. On the condition that we reset the game, Mr. Officers are allowed to come in and play the game in Sloth's stead.
And that's it.
That's it.
Easy.
So technically,
back into Survival all again. So that whole first round, which actually was kind of interesting, and all that talk about the Goyos and the ADSs in dirt, not happening.
Never happened.
Might happen again though.
Ooh, it happens. Oh, it's one ADS. It's one ADS. It's one Goyo shield.
Huh.
Oh, they're adapting. See?
There's only one ADS though, and one shield.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying.
It's really far forward. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's walking up there now for it. I don't know. Anywho,
look at JTC's health as well. Oops.
Oh wow! I just noticed. That's a good one. Anywho, so it's always special, kind of getting back into the middle of things when there's been a little bit of a delay. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Technically, the first round of the match. Like I said, scores have been reset, and Hayes is now going to have the opening kill onto Badger. Badger doesn't change anything. He's still the first death of the round. Guess he felt like donating that just to pad the stats, but it was the wrong player. It was Hayes this time around. Different location as well, but circumstances are pretty similar otherwise.
Yeah, last time was inside a hallway outside a kitchen, so it's a different location. Obviously, the more aggressive. It was about 30 seconds faster as well last time around the 2-minute 5-second remaining mark. This time around, 2 minutes 35 left on the clock. You see the Tony taking on the top floor here right now, being droned in as well. This is why it's so scary. You put drones at the foot of an Ashe and let her run around the map. Chances are she is going to gun you down. Oscar's still on the upstairs right here, playing kind of half of this SSG strat that you're seeing right now, where he is just trying to hold down the upstairs, trying to make sure no one can really find him thanks to all these tests being out. And so far, he's found himself 2 kills. He has been pinned in here, so got to be so careful. Does he try and C4 down the stairs? That'd be incredible if he manages to make anything else. He's most definitely cornered in here and has got to make something happen. But he's in a pretty comfortable spot at the minute where no one can really seem to find him, and everyone's very scared of pushing him. Eastwood was in a spot on main stairs a second ago, not quite going to find a pick though, and Oscar now looking to face off against the one more left around pool table. And there we go. 3 kills for him this round.
That's what you get when you put Oscar back on his trademark defender operator of Mozzie, the youngster who's been around since round 2. He filled 18. He turned 18, not filled. That was a Norwegian English term for you there, right there. But anywho, he turned 18 in round 2, and he's back in the Nordic Championship to prove, as an 18-year-old, that he is willing to gun with the big guns. He is going to be brought down eventually by Rotko, but he was able to remove 3 players on the side of GamerLegion, leaving only Tedis and Rotko still alive. 1 minute left on the clock. Tedis being really low on HP, though, means that this is looking good. Oh, that's how low he is when he actually gets injured by a impact nade. Now, there aren't any points activated, so the player below will most likely not be aware that Tedis is downed. And imagine if there was a timely C4 in this involved in this picture, Des. That would have been quite a bit of a comedy show here to round things up.
If only. I think maybe Stead actually has one here. There it is. Going to be able to get rid of some more. And this is just the kind of game in the dance that you see around this all the time. You're basically burning through 2 of the X-Kairos while using the impact nades to clear those out. However, at some point, they will most definitely get that open, and Tedis finds a kill through the open hole onto JTC. Ooh. So now it's down to just Eastwood and Stead by themselves here, facing off against Rotko and Tedis, and 15 seconds, is left on the clock. He's holding this long angle up here as well, trying to find Stead. Has the right idea, but Rotko's got himself in through dirt. After that distraction, however, now has to try and find the frag. Sees him lying down, but Eastwood doesn't move away fast enough. He gets himself taken out by Rotko, and round number 1 goes the way it did before the rehost, over to GamerLegion.
Much closer round than before the rehost, and unfortunately Eastwood lying down by the rotation hole, being able to be peeked. And there you go. Tedis never disappoints. Always in the chat, adding some comments. Maybe I should stop giving attention. That's how it works. Anywho, round 2. CCTV cash this time around. Still different circumstances. Result still the same. 1-0 for GamerLegion after that first round.
And what more can they do here in changing site? I thought for a second they might go for the same picks to try and bait GamerLegion's thinking they're going back downstairs once again, but nope. Staying as is. It seems maybe the Maya gets swapped away in a second, but CCCV Cash going to be the second site. And given what they brought along here, would probably expect some electrification to be deployed by Eastwood onto that east wall. But the problem is with that Thatcher still on side, of course, it's pretty simple for that to be dealt with. So maybe he tries to get a bit creative with that and try something different. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, well, I was a bit questioning the Kaid stick there, considering that they have a Thatcher, as you said. Maybe just 6-pick the Kaid into a Bandit, because with the Kaid you could also still make GamerLegion think that you're going downstairs, because the Kaid would be very relevant for closing off the hatches with electricity, and you could potentially Kaid trick the hatches as well. Very difficult, of course, if the Thatcher's there to time the EMP grenade properly, but it's not impossible. Very difficult though, and Rotko and Tedis shouldn't have too much of a hard time being able to open this east wall either, if they're aware of the site, which they should be now, of course. Knowing that only Kaid will be the one of the Electro Boys, as you so much like to call them, on site.
No. Let's kill it right now. Zappy Boys is what Gio calls them. Electro Bros is what I call them.
Electro Bros, sorry.
Electro Bros, yes.
Yeah, that's the one, sorry. I forgot about that. It's the thing about you and electricity, right? Desert Chew, Electro Boys.
Yeah,
No, Bros,
Matt,
sorry.
Come on.
Well, I'm a boomer, alright? I got bad hearing.
Bad hearing and bad retention of knowledge, apparently, it seems. Rocco's still lurking, waiting, and that coming out now. The Electro Claws you just heard is going to electrify that east wall. So now they're going to have to be able to bring the Thatcher over to be able to deal with that one early on. Hannes, I'm not quite sure where he's lurking right now. I imagine on the roof somewhere. It's normally where things will be starting off. Am I blind? What? Okay.
Go on.
Hanging out at spawn for a solid 60 seconds. Fine. Waste your team's time, Herner. Sure thing. Now they can finally get themselves that EMP coming in on towards that east balcony, which means things can get opened up. Gotta be careful, because Eastwood is still positioned here, and if he wanted to, could go for a second one. Don't think he's going to bother. That's going to be that wall getting opened up, and Oscar needs to rotate the hell away. She exactly shall do, as the breach is now open. Took a little bit longer than anticipated, but it is open. Now they can move over to try and take on towards the west side instead. Eastwood finds Mr. Officer in the first kill.
He does. He also finds Hayes in the second kill for his team here as well. Good start for the new player. Both of the kills coming into construction here. As you can see, the substitute in Mr. Officer being taken off for their Rotko. Without any difficulties, though, will be able to open this construction wall. Also going to be laying down prone here to avoid stead. Harness with a kill onto Eastwood as well. So finally, the amazing shotgun of Kaid being taken off board there. 3 versus 4, though. All the necessary walls are open. Still no garage control, though, from what I can tell, for GamerLegion. Instead, with the kill onto Rotko as well, putting it into a 4v2 situation here. And Alex, no garage control, as we can see. Nope, JTC still in full control of that on Granit Gaming. So this is a risky situation here for Tedis and Harness. We'll have to push from 2 opposite sides. No pressure from garage, no pressure from the stairs. And now with Harness being dead as well, it's have to be Tedis with another 1v4 clutch on Clubhouse, but it's not going to happen. Oscar puts him down and puts the first round for Granit up on the board.
Much more composed round than the last one for sure, where they were just bleeding members, it felt like, for the most part. This round, though, a little slow on the uptake, I think, from the attackers. GamerLegion having to move a couple of members around there and try and get into the right position. Unfortunately, bleeding out a few too many too early, put all the control in Granit's favor. Round 3, then we're going back downstairs once again. And this is where we're going to see the tests coming up against Granit here. If they can adapt and deal with what went wrong last time they played this site back in round number 1. The answer was quite a lot went wrong. Even with Oscar finding a 3K on the top floor, even with a spot where there were 2 left, they still managed to give that round away due to, admittedly, some very excellent execution coming out of the attackers when it came to a kitchen assault.
Yeah, it was a very scrappy round, and like you said, it was a huge advantage there given to Granit by Oscar, who should never have been able to pick up 3 players and live for that long. But we've seen that sometimes, we see that plenty of times actually in this game, where people are just not punished. You might have the best strategy, and as Des always said, just click on heads for it and you will win rounds. And proven statement time and time again in the Nordic Championship. As you say, back down into the basement. Same lineup as, if my memory serves me correctly, as well. And will also be interesting to see whether the roam from Badger will be as unsuccessful for a 3rd time in a row in an Armory, or not in a row, but for a 3rd time on Armory. Has been the first death on his team on both of the Armory defenses, and hopefully he will be able to learn from that. He says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And fool me 3 times, I guess, just stay back on the site.
Sit back and play nice and chill. One thing I'll acknowledge actually is GamerLegion very early in these rounds so far has always lost 1 drone in the drone phase. I think the last 3 rounds it's been the kind of running theme. This time around it's kind of 2 quite early on. It's one thing I've been paying quite a lot of attention to in the last few weeks is that early drone count. How many are alive? How many are dead? How many are still in the back pocket, for example? And you see teams in Challenge League like Easy Dream really bleeding a lot of drones quite early into these rounds, and it's quite a big deal to make sure you have a lot of those still on side. So one thing worth keeping an eye on in this game is exactly how many are left alive as the round starts. And then again, once we get to about 1 minute and 30 left, as those mid-round drones are so important for intel collection once you're actually near the site.
Absolutely. So crucial for the final execution as well. Never know when you're in a 2v4 situation if you still have some minutes left on seconds left on the clock to just take the time, set up some drones so that your teams can hold for you in flanks as well. Talking about holding, Badger's holding his angle onto construction, taking a bit of damage, but he's also giving some damage to Hannes. It's going to be Oscar with the first kill of the round this time onto Tedis. Huge pickup there. That's the Hibana, which will make it a lot harder for the hatches to be open. We'll still be able to be open, but you will need to be a lot more selective. Harness is going to be pushed here alongside Hayes to try and get Badger out, and they already have. One's also injured over in Gym, and that would be Oscar playing the same position even as he did last round, but not with as much success this time around. 4v3, 1 minute 30 left on the clock. And Eastwood here on a roam, sneaky little roam with only 5 HP left on the Kaid as well, so... Yeah.
This would be a great roam if he was playing on towards Gym and Bedroom right now, but being this far upstairs, he's just trying to cause some damage control, I think, and try and get a couple picked off, and he'll find one, doesn't find the second, as you might expect. Hernus will clean that one up. But that'll be Eastwood done, Hayes done and dusted off the board. So into a 3 versus 2 for GamerLegion. And we're kind of back where we were previously. If you remember in round 1, as I mentioned earlier, Oscar found himself 3 kills early on, left the attackers with just 2, and they managed to execute just fine. Here they're in a spot where they have the Thatcher and the Thermite alongside some soft destruction with the Zofia. So they have all the tools necessary to still make this attack work. As they start to open up Moto here. Interesting this time around, have chosen to completely ignore what's going on inside the kitchen and then focus on this south side instead.
And there's one of your drones that we just spoke of, Rodko. Using the time, 30 seconds left on the clock to use the drone to find some information. For those of you in rank to always suicide your drones into site, please don't. Use 1 drone to confirm the site. Take them all back to spawn now that we have the new added edition where you can just spawn your drones pretty well. Yeah, that's cheeky. And easy peasy walk into Arsenal room there by Harness. And you hear Rodko's preparing the plan as well. Harness is there to be the cover, and he does a great job so far with a triple kill so far in the round. JTC goes down. Only Stead left. And he's worried about the player into Moto. He's going to have to push into Arsenal, but he won't be able to. GamerLegion with another win in Armory. And as you rightly pointed out, a 4K for Harness.
Not bad for a man who's been on support quite a bit in previous weeks. Normally the Thermite player for this team. And I imagine with the sub in for their coach here, Mr. Officer, is saying, you know, I get to play a fragging role today and he can take over what I'd normally do. Although it has been Rocco mainly playing on the Thermite in this case. So it's freeing him up to go and play that fragging role alongside Hayes. Interesting as well, seeing that Tedis, being one of the big fraggers for the team, is currently playing on that flex hard breach as well, playing the Hibana every single round so far. A bit of a would-be Shaco in the mix here, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I now that you mention
it... We all know how much Shaco absolutely loves playing on the Hibana.
Yeah, and that's very true. And I mean, Shaco, I mean, I just, speaking of Shaco, just watched the Chaos calls, the video on YouTube when they make the communication calls and stuff like that. And Renewals was pretty happy with outgunning Shaco that game against BDS. Let me just put it that way.
Well, let's put it one way. Very few players can claim the accolade of having outgunned Shaco.
Absolutely, and he's 42 years old as well, so that makes it even sweeter. But what makes it even sweeter, as you spoke of, there have been certain changes in terms of roles on GamerLegion. I remember Mr. Officer mentioning this. I believe it was on his stream, or one of his acclaimed social media videos where he's always talking about sharing some thoughts before the rounds. And Harness moving on to the Zofia. We saw Mr. Officer playing the Zofia. I believe it was in round 2, or was it round 1 maybe, even? All the way back then?
Can't remember. Good question. I imagine every round so far, because it's one of the, like, this is the thing about this map on Clubhouse, is you have to bring this lineup that you can see here generally.
Yeah.
Or you mix in like a Maverick if it's available. Ash kind of being the one thing that you might look at swapping out there for an IQ or something else, but generally you need as much soft destruction as you can, given the, as everyone will often tell you, how many gadgets there are to destroy on the defensive side right now. Shields, cameras, you name it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they brought a Zofia every round. I just think that Mr. Officer might have played him the first time around, but it doesn't matter. Most important thing is that she's along for the ride. And I mean, we did speak about Harness prior to the match, and we did say, oh, Badger there, this time around, he gets the first kill just in time to shut me up and shut Hayes down as well on the Ash there. Great opening kill there for Badger on the Jaeger, who's been playing very offensively on his entries so far in the Nordic Championship. And he's taken the bad end of the deal, or the bargain, quite a few times, but can be very impactful now, also with GamerLegion in a number disadvantage. We know they hate to play with a numbers disadvantage, but let's just hope GG don't give them any free kills and make use of the time that they have.
Yeah, well, that time is starting to tick down now. Things are moving relatively quick because they have this whole east side control, very commonly a spot for a defensive hold coming out, or an extended hold coming out in this case, clearly not to be. Interesting as well, they're chosen to reinforce that hatchway there. Huh.
Yeah.
That just kind of shows anything else. They wanted to hold inside of construction for a little bit longer, but just kind of felt they couldn't. Found themselves to kill onto Hayes and were like, you know what, that's enough time wasted. Let's get the hell out of here and let's not try and face any aggression from below. So now putting things back in, you can see the surround coming in from GamerLegion as well, both inside of stock. She got one playing down a bit further. Let's say Hernes just pushing in towards Badger as well. Will do enough here, getting rid of those gold shields in case they do come into play a bit later on. He's having a great time so far at 6 frags after 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's really showing why he's one of the top performers in the Nordic Championship, one of the honorable mentions of my own personal list. And I think a role swap where he gets to be put in a more of a fragging position is not the dumbest decision they've ever made. Rotko's still on a fragmite at the moment, taking down Eastwood, but Oscar with a trade onto the coach of GamerLegion. Rotko with an immediate trade, and Harness just, JTG just walks into Harness, and another multi-kill this round as well for Harness, really stepping up for his team this round so far. Harness is now injured though with a shotgun at hand. Stead is not able to finish that kill. Potential whiff stand here from Harness, but it doesn't matter, because Rotko will shut the round out, shut Stead down as well, and round 4 goes in favor of GamerLegion on Clubhouse on attack.
Quite decisively as well of that. It seems like the only site we're going to see any success coming through for the defenders is going to be on cache and CCTV, and we are now able to head back to that site, so I'd be very surprised if they didn't return there, given us that it is the only place they've been victorious. Looks like it will be the pick coming through. I think it was more for the attackers last time. They'd led a lot of members relatively early on and were quite slow in getting that east wall open. The one change we're seeing come through already for the defenders, though, is the Bandit being brought along here in place of the Kaid, trying to probably play around that Bandit trick a little more aggressively than maybe the Kaid was. He sat very far back in towards the west of the room and just thought, oh, well, they got it open. Let's just back out now. At least with the Bandit, they can try and play a little bit more aggressively.
Relatively similar, if not identical, lineup here from Granit as well for this hold.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
and the same thing from GamerLegion. Nothing new changes here, and if it works, no need to change it. Could potentially have seen a buck here, but there's no point if Harness is having a field day on Zofia. 7 kills in 5 rounds so far. Rotko in 6 as well. Keep that in mind. We've been talking a lot about Harness getting all these multi-kills, but Rotko has steadily also been getting kills on Thermites. There's just something about fragmites on this team, I think, GamerLegion. Now that all of a sudden Rotko is in the Thermite duty, the same duty that Harness has had the 2 or 3 last rounds, if my memory serves me correctly. Seems like GamerLegion has a thing with good Thermite players.
Well, it looks actually like the fact that you're all 4-on swaps, now I think about it. Because like I said in the pre-game, Sloth was saying to me before, you know, making a couple of changes internally, we are moving a few things around to see how it can work. And well, as it stands so far, there's clearly the change of moving Harness away from playing on the Thermite, instead playing on towards this more fragging role is working wonderfully for them. Although the one thing I'll be kind of conscious of now I think about it is that Sloth was playing in this kind of main entry position anyway. So now he's in a spot where the others are taking over the role that he would normally hold. So I don't know.
That's a fair point.
I'll have to ask him what's gone on in this, because it is quite an interesting change that the team's gone through.
Yep. That's a fair analysis. With while Hayes is joining out the second floor here for Harness. Oscar holding out here in the construction. He's on construction duty. And a little bit more time here now on the east wall. No Kaid this time around. That's the one change that we saw. Last time it was the Kaid. And the wall was very easily open. We see Eastwood has taken some damage as well. I would assume that is from the drone hole or from below, potentially. Already, Harness is into the construction seams as well. judging by the overlays here. But most importantly, the wall has not been opened as of yet. They're still struggling with that. Eastwood's doing a good job of keeping that thing locked down. And then again, this is what I mean with the advantage of a bandit over Kaid, or at least have the Kaid as an option to the bandit. Makes it a lot easier to bandit trick and not just let Thatcher just open them up for free. But here we go, Harness with the entry kill onto Oscar. Been holding an angle from construction for ages, it would seem, and his patience has been paid. But there we go, Stead on the trade right after. But the wall will be opened by Rockfoot as well. This is the same procedure as we saw last year, I was going to say, but last round.
A bomb has been
It
located.
is crazy how many times we see Gore Shields being used against defenders there, and that was just a threat that came through while we had Oscar playing behind it. Officer gets brought down by Eastwood. Those two, a bit of a rivalry going on, because Eastwood's now killed him, I think, out of the 4 rounds. He's killed him twice in the kind of early stages of the round. Not the prettiest time for Officer, as you might well come to expect. And you can see this lurk down low. Hayes in a brilliant spot there to be able to close on that one, and will clean off Badger, who was playing on the downstairs. Not having the most success on this Jaeger, it seems. Meanwhile, Rocco bringing out Stead elsewhere. So, GamerLegion in control for the first time on this site. It feels like it's going to be Hayes charging up the stairs. They are definitely a team transformed, it feels like, today compared to the last couple of weeks. Week 2 especially was not GamerLegion's time, but today looking much more improved across the board, full stop. JTC into a 1 versus 3 though. Grenades coming out, everything working against him right now, and I'm pretty sure he knows there's not really much to come from it. Will find himself one, gets a double kill, won't be able to get the planter though, and now that diffuser is down, there is work to be done. One is out construction window. You are absolutely correct, good sir, but he's got pretty far away in that case. Going to try the jump out there, and will find himself a triple kill. JTC's 1 kill away from... In fact, no, that's all of them, sorry. What am I on about? Wins the 1v1, gets the defuse in. What on earth just happened?
What just happened was just GamerLegion taking things a bit for granted there, and by as soon as Ted started hitting on the wall over there in bedroom, JTC knew exactly where Hibana was, and I don't know if there was a missed call there or if he just wasn't paying attention, but JTC, he was not prepared for the run jump out that soon after, so that it was a bit of a, I'm not gonna lie, smells a little bit of like a minor throw there when you have so much control, and a great performance by JTC. Like I said before cast, one of the players that have been really consistent for Granit Gaming, always involved in the positive things happening for his team, it would seem like. And this time around, he's able to turn I think that was a 1v3 into a win post-plant as well.
That's exactly what my notes now say. JTC 3K post-plant clutch. Interesting conclusion to things as well. Like, you would assume that knowing no one's going to jump out a bathroom window on you, or sorry, out a bedroom window, or even out a gym window, you just sit and watch construction window, and the assumption that someone would either push you for construction window or from CCTV window. But neither was the case. Just jumped straight out of construction, clearly thinking, you know what, it's either I do this and we lose, or I don't do this and we lose anyway. Fair play to JTC there, a big round. But I got to acknowledge how many clutches there have been so far in these rounds now. Oscar with a 3K in round 1, Hernus with a 4K in round 3, JTC in that round just now. It's starting to shape up an awful lot like last week's game in game 1 as well. And the little post-match summary I had was this game was literally ruled entirely by multi-kills. We went into the second match, which was on the same map, and that was a lot calmer and a lot more, air quotes, normal siege. This one just feels like who's really going to stand up and make themselves heard the most. It's crazy.
The funny thing is, I was about to talk about how this is a good map for GamerLegion. I mean, they thrashed 6-pick 7-0 here around them, or the first playdate of the season. Oh, no Goya shields in here anymore. Just a barbed wire. That's like, oh, there is a Goya shield. I'm just blind. Never mind. Anywho, I was gonna say, like, this is a map. You spoke of this while we were going into the match, how this is a setup map where you need a lot of things to go off at the same time. You need the communication to be on point, and yet we're just seeing the same thing as we saw from GamerLegion last week. And now you could argue, yes, they have a sub, but he's the coach. He knows the strategy. I mean, he makes them with the team, so that's not the issue here. And it's just execution. It's just like all of a sudden you just get all the kills, all the multi-kills, and it seems like either team gets a little bit too comfortable with their man advantage, and it can be somewhat sloppy in, well, just going the full distance. With that said, GamerLegion still 1 round up, and having 3 attacks won on Clubhouse, it's not a bad start for sure. And if they get a 4-2 here as well, they would be very happy with this half, considering how this match has started.
So things starting out on the top floor, as we've probably seen many, many times over. And guess who's up here again, Snurley? It's Oscar. What a surprise. At least this time round, he's not penning himself inside of gym. That's where he's did pretty well in round 1. And then in round 3, things definitely didn't go the same way anymore. I think here, nothing else, trying to catch out Rocco, who's got the diffuser. If he catches Rocco here, this could be massive one. There we go. And the diffuser is now down. And they've also got Badger, but Badger misses such crucial shots. That should have been a kill, but Oscar will get the spray down anyway. And suddenly Granit are in full control. And now panic lights turn on for GamerLegion. Got to recover the diffuser and got to save their players. Mr. Officer with a big kill onto Badger will give them some semblance of help here as Oscar rotates back down to site. But the damage has been done. That's Rocco and Harness gone. And lots of soft destruction as well as hard destruction off the board.
Absolutely. So they have control of Garage. They know that where exactly where the diffuser is. So they're probably just going to do some intel gathering here before they go and actually pick it up, or they just want the correct player to pick it up. We see Oscar actually driving the drone around there. It's so funny with Mozzie being in the game now that when you see a drone driving around, you don't really notice it, but then you realize, oh wait, that's Mozzie. Look at that. Look at the drone going back home to daddy. Beautiful scenes. Beautiful scenes. Hayes coming down blue stairs as well. We don't know whether that's going to be beautiful scenes for Hayes or for Oscar playing it from blue. He doesn't even know.
He thinks it's a friendly drone, I imagine, at this point. Yeah, he just will spray it out, but just at that exact second is when the peak comes through. However, no kill to be found by Oscar, and he himself will back himself away just a little bit more. In a great spot here as well. You can get little punch holes on this wall if you want to be able to watch down to where Hayes is coming from now. Officer and Hayes are both pushing down the same location here, so they need to make this work. However, there should be another angle coming in somewhere. Where's the third player in this case? Tedis is off somewhere by himself. It feels he's on above, as you can see him walking down now, probably looking towards Moto Hatch. He drops in there as Oscar finds a double kill. Hayes comes in from behind, and Tedis is in a great spot here. Does that damage onto Eastwood, and now a lot of that control has been removed from the other side. It's a 1 versus 2, and we're down to the final 5 seconds. Tedis tries to swing in, finds one. Can he get the last? He's got to try and stick the plant right here. Must know where he is, does know where he is, but will not find the kill. Granit will win round number 6, and that brings things out at 3-3 in the first half.
Well, that was a very interesting round with a lot of things happening and at the same time not. I was going to say before before I got caught up by the cute little drone driving back to Daddy that the mistake that we saw there from Rothko pushing into Garage is very similar to when he was on. Oh, look at Mr. Officer with the bait there. If I see the Boomer playing Caveira on Clubhouse and accounting, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Murat. Anyway, as I was going to say, do you remember Rothko's push down White Stairs on Monty?
Yep.
On Cafe last round? Yeah. Very similar kind of mistake, it seems like. Like communication, not being completely aware of your surroundings. And obviously, if the call is that, yeah, Garage is clear, then obviously the fault is not on Rothko's side. But it is, again, we're still seeing some of the same issues here for GamerLegion, and that has me slightly concerned because if it is a communication issue, it's a lot hard. Wow. Talking is also a lot harder than it sounds. But anyway, communications issues can be very difficult to solve because sometimes you tend to think that more communication is key to fix it, but that might actually make it worse. And it can also seem like the players are getting too caught up in what they're actually doing for themselves, or like they have a set task and they're not like fast enough to adapt to what's actually going on. Or it might just be, I don't know, Rothko shift running into Garage. Point is, it shouldn't happen. That essentially cost them a round. All started there.
It does even things out at 3-3 perfectly, so this next half feels almost perfectly set up now for us to go into the second half, as we said, with GamerLegion on the defense. I would say when rounds haven't been, ruined almost by catch-outs from Granit or from everything else kind of falling beside the wayside. Back in round 1 was when Oscar caught a 3K out for himself, and GamerLegion still went on to go and win that round. But in this half of things, with GamerLegion being on defense on a more defensively favored map, you would generally expect them to take the win here. But as we mentioned previously, Granit are the team that we still haven't got a solid idea of yet. They're still taking rounds and results from teams that maybe we don't always strictly expect from them. And it goes to show, if nothing else, how uncertain Nordic Championship is so far as opposed to last year, when we'd often see 2 or 3 teams being the ones that clearly are cut above the rest in any season that we played.
Yeah, and that's what's so great with the league standings as well. And if we have 8 tightly contested teams as well, you never know which way the wind's going to blow, and that's always entertaining. Badger droning out Hayes here, who was just redecorating a little bit for himself down there. In the meantime, we see Kitchen Clarence going forward as per usual. Harness playing below on the Goyo there, I would assume, potentially with either Impacts or a C4. He's playing with the Impact, the new UI. I'm still not 100% used to it. JTC is actually going to try and blow it up next to the hatch. Not going to be successful, though. Still a good impact trick there, and I don't know if JTC was aware of that. It should be able to hear on the explosion that the hatch did not open. But, anywho, Harness, doesn't matter if he's playing attack or defense, he gets the first kill onto Badger. yet again an opening death for Badger there, and this time it was down in oil, and with no one else pushing down blue stairs or dirt still, that's a bit of a rush.
A little keen, maybe. I think he wanted to hold the near corner just to be able to threaten onto the generator, but wasn't quite to be the case. Somewhat surprised that Oscar is still, having been on this Habana, is hanging off towards stock right now. And why isn't trying to help his team get these other two hatches open? They should know that that's a priority, especially when there's only 60 seconds left on the clock. You even got JTC pushing down here as well. Pushes in aggressively right now. Rocco's going to go down to Eastwood in there, trailing that immediately by Hernes. Who else would, of course, found that kill? Now got himself 10 kills inside 7 rounds, and still potentially more to be found in this round. Hayes gets Oscar, instead onto Hayes as a frag, and a trade comes back through the other way. Trades going on everywhere as Dead finds 2. Now into a 2 versus 2 with 40 seconds on the clock. Make that a 1 versus 2. Ted is finding a kill for himself, and this should be coming up all GamerLegion right now, unless JTC can pull off the unthinkable from inside of dirt.
You never know, because there goes the first kill, and that's Harris taken off, but there's still another shotgun to play here, and that's the Kaid, one of the most intimidating guns in the game at the moment. 23 seconds, he knows he's somewhere in blue or church, I think. No, he doesn't know he's in blue, because he sprints into it, and Tedis can clear the round and notch GamerLegion with the first offensive win 1 round.
Win
1-1.
That was a crazy ending 1v1 though, because if you hadn't sprayed through in towards Church as well, that probably would have been him getting away with that, and maybe even finding the back of Tedis there in the very end. Small things in these rounds, and it's nice to see the two teams, as we mentioned earlier on, so closely matched against one another. 4-3 now to GamerLegion, and I'm almost in a spot where I'm just not sure which way these rounds are going to go. It's really coming down to the wire that much.
I mean, it's relatively easy to prepare to predict things on paper, but this has been anything but a normal match. Not just considering everything that happened at the beginning of the map, but also, as you said, all the multi-kills going for either teams, really. And that's the thing. Like, and this is also what's difficult for a coach. Like, you can make the best strategy in the game, but you can never predict or you can never counter another player having an amazing day, landing all their shots. And I mean, even we, the lowly golds of ranked, know the feeling that when you're just in the zone and it feels like no bullets hit you and every one of yours hit your target. And it's an amazing feeling. If you have players playing like that, like Harness is clearly doing right now, as you said, with 10 kills in 8 rounds, playing phenomenal, playing great. I'm not even going to try that word right now as my words elude me. Oscar with 8 kills as well on the opposite side. So as you said, time and time again, a lot of good individual performances there in terms of kills. But I am a bit worried about the seemingly lack of communication or drone work here from either team. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, the drone work's coming in, just quite a few are being lost relatively early on in these rounds. I think we saw on average about 4 or 5 being lost at about the 2-minute mark.
Granit's only lost 1 now, so that's a good start.
Yeah, 1's not bad. Like, if you lose 1 in the droning phase, it's not ideal, but it's also not the worst. I think if you start losing 2+, then it's definitely a serious problem that you have to be addressing in future rounds.
Yeah.
So both of these teams have been okay on that front. It's more how many are then lost in the following 60 seconds that becomes the painful point, I think.
Yeah.
As it stands so far, only at 2. We can literally count the drones if we really wanted to. That's how interesting it is to watch and observe at this stage.
That's why we cast instead of playing the game, because we just love watching drones being shot.
Apparently so. That's 3.
Yeah, that's 3. Also, doors being opened here, and Tedis here with the bandit trick on the cache wall, server wall.
You don't put it on the wall? No. I was going to say, I was so confused. I heard it make the sound when it's actually planted, and I was like, wait, what? Why is he not blowing it? But no, he didn't. Pulled it off last second.
Yeah, he did. Harness with another opening kill there.
Eastwood underneath. Eastwood will get underneath now and be able to blow this out twice by the looks of it, and that should remove the bandit charges. There we go. They are now gone. Tedis isn't dead, mind you, so he can stay here if he wants to and still keep threatening this. In fact, the charge is still alive, both of them. Just the top one,
just one of them, I think. Yeah.
Just the top one.
Yeah, it's just the just from above, the electrocution can look a bit weird, but there you go. He can put up another there, and Eastwood taking down Harness as well. Means that the potential backup that he had from below is now gone, so Tedis will start to feel the fire under his feet immediately, and there we go. I think that's a wise decision there by Tedis to just pull back. And he's going to use the last battery on his shield, so they can't get rid of that very easily, at least. So that's a good start. Badger running the buck, though, so if he has a nade, that shouldn't be his biggest concern, but he's playing from below, as he should, on buck.
All that stuff flooring up above, you're going to be able to deal with. Eastwood finds the second kill of the round in towards Hayes. That's the Jaeger done and off the board. Jaegers haven't had too much fun so far in this game, I feel. If you play something like a Mozzie, it's a different story. But Jaegers, nah, not having a good time.
No, it's big feels bad for them. Mr. Officer here really wants to peek this. It's just gonna hold it. Oh, the reactions. The reactions. There we go, Mr. Officer. He's warmed up with a couple of terrorist hunts, but he's gonna be traded immediately by Badger. And 2v3 situation here for GamerLegion. 35 seconds left on the clock. Walls are opened. They do have garage control, so that's a good start. But no one there. Badger's still below. J2C holding here from the balcony as well. They're kind of spread out here, so this could potentially be a lot of 1v1s there for GamerLegion. But there we go, the grenade from below. This is exactly where you play Badger or Buck from below, being able to use that utility. Rocco with the trade back onto Badger there. He still has smoke canisters. Time's taken out as well. Stead will be able to stick this plant, though just too late. Won't be able to find a kill before he's able to run away from the diffuser either. 2v1 post-plant situation here, favor of Granit Gaming.
Yeah, and he's got himself now up inside of garage. In fact, I saw JTC rotating around from the outside, potentially. I think they're watching for a run-out, potentially. So either way he looks at it, he's got an enemy outside and an enemy on the inside. Not a fun situation to be in here if you are the smoker live by himself. Has about 20 seconds to make some magic happen here. Going to try his look upstairs. By the looks of it, try and find the one playing inside of Cash, and he would have the right idea as there is one playing inside of there. But it's even got to deal with the fact that there's a barricade on this door. It's really worth it right now. Down to the final 10 seconds. There's no way he manages to get this one in time. A little bit indecisive at points, and will die in the end, I believe, from a Zofia. No, it's from a Claymore, sorry.
Yeah, I thought I heard a beep. I was wondering, like, was that a... Did he just trigger a C4 by himself? And it was like, no, it's smoke. And I was like, oh, yeah, the Claymore. Makes sense.
There we go.
Makes a lot more
I was really
sense.
confused. I was like, the Zofia's upstairs, though. Like, what?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like the door was bugged, like the way that he was just trying to pre-peek there, and he didn't just vault through it. So I was gonna say it looks like it's bugged, so he has to rotate there. Not that he would. I don't think it would matter anyway because was literally running out of time. But
10 seconds left. Yeah.
Yeah, you still hate to see that. But anywho, Granit Gaming will still be very happy with them being able to get right back up there with GamerLegion following and then going tit for tat at the moment with GamerLegion winning the previous round, but Granit Gaming winning this one. Mr. Officer just loves to try and bait us into these things, like, oh, he's going to play the Clash because he's old and he can't move, and no, it's going to be Valkyrie.
The interesting thing in that last round for me was for Granit, they were in a spot where they'd lost Oscar early on, and instantly on GamerLegion's side, you've got to look at that and think, wow, that's a massive advantage because the exothermic, you only get 2 of them. Most of them are probably going to get committed towards trying to take that east wall. And once that's open, it's very common to then rotate over towards the west side of the map, push your way through gym and bedroom, take control of construction and get that wall open as well. But because the Habana was dead earlier, normally her job is to use the X-Kairos on the lowest part of that wall. If you do it any higher, it'd be impact tricked. You get rid of the lower side of things. You contest inside of CC, inside of Cash, and defenders are then very much so pinched either through the breach or through construction wall. The fact that he died early meant the only angle they had was the breach itself and garage. So that was a really safe round for GamerLegion, and still managed to find themselves in a spot where they were losing things out just because of the fact they had too many members trying to play away from site or causing a bit of chaos. We mentioned what happened earlier on with the Jaeger, for example, being caught out. It's happened a few times now where you're in a spot like that. Maybe if you have both sides opened up, sure, you can play your own game. In spots where only one part of it's open and they can only push through that or garage, you may as well stay on site and try and hold the angles.
Absolutely. So, again, though, you would like to say that some of the mistakes coming through from GamerLegion could be down to them playing with a substitute and everything that's happened. But again, it is the coach. I mean, it is the coach still. And, like, yeah, he knows the strategies, but the comms could be a bit off. And I think Rodko is the designated IGL, but with the coach being in game, would you really want to be the IGL telling your coach what to do? It's like, that's kind of the hierarchical issue there. And I know Mr. Officer personally. He's a very dedicated man. He doesn't mince words, to put it that way. So if he gets carried away, he might also be able to create some confusion in the game. So hopefully they've just said, you know what, Rodko's still the IGL. He's going to make the calls. I'm just here to be a gun, essentially.
And intel, I think, and nothing else as well. Because although you have IGLs in game, of course, not the only ones making calls on where players are. So obviously being on the Valkyrie here is going to be huge for them, potentially. So the focus coming out of this west wall, if you've already come to expect, that will be opened up already. That EMP a little bit late, admittedly, but it's open regardless. Now they're going to get themselves into a spot where they can take control of bathroom as well, because you've still got Teddy's playing here. And guess what? He's got a C4 in the back pocket, so if he wants to get to work with that, he absolutely can.
He can. Traded kills as well. Hayes got Badger there, but immediately traded back. But this time in mid-vault, got Oscar taking out Mr. Officer there, who has been playing a bit aggressively around these doorways, but I guess he's thinking like, well, I'm just here to fill a role, and I might as well try and have a little bit of fun while doing it. And like I said, the extra gun, he has the extra utility, all the Valk cams that can be of as much worth as an extra gun, mind you. Jacuzzi wall being opened. relatively early means that they have control of the hallway. We actually see another. Was that a normal? I was gonna say, yeah, exothermic charge actually being used in the castle barricade down there on the main stairs, so that we'll be able to have main stair control if they need to. Eastwood doing the droning here as well up main stairs just to confirm another time that it's still clear. Logistics is also clear. All the GamerLegion's players right now are spread out in all of these rooms called gym, bedroom, and construction, respectively. Hopefully within trading distance, if so needs be. Talking about trading distance, Ted is trying to trade some bullets into Stead's head. Doesn't land any. 35 seconds left on the clock. Still a lot of information gathering going on here from JTC and the rest of Granit Gaming.
They are playing nice and passive there, mind you, the defenders. They don't need to push too aggressively with much of this. And I say that as we finally start to see Rocco stepping up here. They will get rid of the castle wall. Now in a spot where he finds out a free kill, and that's going to be the diffuser gone. The angle not quite being held correctly by Eastwood means that diffuser is down on the ground. Now into a 1 versus 2, and it is down to the attackers with the numbers advantage to make this happen here. They've got to know it's going down. Surely you see him, doesn't see it, and gets himself killed at the back of it. Instead picks up Hernes, who's had such a good game so far, and Granit will take round number 9 and put themselves in the lead.
Oof. A little bit of a oopsie there. That is stress or adrenaline
from me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a that's adrenaline and stress, or just normal gold plates right there. I could have sworn I saw him in the camera there, but on Harness's perspective, it doesn't matter. He didn't, so he had to try and run in to try and prevent the plant, and that cost him the round. Well, not just that, a lot of other things leading up to that, of course. Doesn't change the fact that Granit Gaming is in the lead for the first time so far, I think, this map, with a 5-4 lead. And this is where things can start getting shaky for GamerLegion if they're letting the mental game get to them and they're playing from behind. On the defensive side, we're seeing more attacking wins, I think. Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. No.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
Yes, we have
being defused by attackers.
more attacking wins than defensive wins so far. So all of a sudden, it looks like Clubhouse is attacking favored here. Des, that's the conclusion of the analyst. Well, it's still, I can still say it. I have empirical evidence that this is the case for at least one round.
It's
Then
turned
we'll see
into
how it goes.
it's turned into a game at least. 5-4, and quarter past 7 to you guys at the minute.
Yep.
Been running on probably longer than anticipated, of course, due to that earlier rehost. But what a game we've been presented with so far. It's not the clearness in the execution or the closing of the rounds, but it is entertaining, if absolutely nothing else. Lots of 1v1s and multi-kills flying through on all fronts. We now return back downstairs. This is where things started out in this defensive half, and GamerLegion came out on top, albeit only down to a final 1 versus 1 where things really didn't swing the way that they hoped for. So, some work to do. GamerLegion still, no, I think coming into this week, we're saying, look, there's a lot of work we can do here. We've been working hard and getting things kind of straightened out. Yes, the unfortunate case of Sloth not being here probably is hurting them right now, but if nothing else, that's an opportunity for Granit to be able to take this one away.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't care. My predictions were a tie, so I'm happy if this ends up in a draw. So at least I get something right. I mean, circumstances be damned and all that. But I mean, this is something that could potentially afterwards could be a bit annoying for GamerLegion. I know that they have not been very happy with their own performances lately, and so for this to happen that they obviously could not have predicted, it's not what you like to see. So hopefully they will be able to grab some points. I think that will be even more crucial here, even if it's just a tie. If they get 3 points here tonight, I think they'll be very, very, very happy with that. Still another dirt hold here from GamerLegion as well. Mr. Officer being the one playing upstairs. Badger trying to find the wall, finding through the wall there. He has the intel. It's also going to open up the bathroom wall. Mr. Officer's now ready for it now that someone's knocking on behind him. But Badger and them still struggling here. They need to, and Hayes is here to back him up, and there he goes, backing up his boss, and that's going to earn you another star in the book there, Hayes, for Mr. Officer. Sitting all alone by himself in the bathroom until Hayes comes to help him out and get the first kill of the round.
Yeah, Badger's having a rough game.
Yeah.
No, really the way of putting it. He's finding himself involved on the wrong end of a lot of these opening kills, and now the swing round comes in from Zofia. Eastwood finding out to Hayes, and that's going to be Mr. Officer going down as well. So they have dealt with the two troublemakers, however, it has cost them 2 minutes and a buck to do so. And Badger would have been so useful with all that soft destruction around kitchen, around the main hallway, that they just simply aren't going to get to use right now. As it stands,
not to forget the grenades.
Yeah, everything just being removed does hurt them a lot in this situation. Eastwood even doing is going as far as now walking down main stairs to get himself in towards Death Alley, as I like to call it, where the C4s will start raining through. You do have this guy at the other side of Church Wall raining, waiting for that. And you still got to deal with the fact that there is dirt to push down. I think JTC needs to bail on this. If that is the first smoke canister the Rotko has thrown out, there is no way he has enough time to make this work.
Shouldn't do now. 30 seconds left on the clock. 4 members of Granit Gaming get ready for the final push of this round. And if they win this round, keep in mind, they're at least guaranteed a point. And they will be very happy with that, I would assume, prior to the match, especially how things ended up. Eastwood getting a kill as well, and another defender going down into blue. That's a 4v1 situation, 8 seconds left on the clock. And there's a 0, so it means that Granit Gaming would be able to secure, wow, even 1 point for tonight. I don't know, the only thing weird here, it's not the only thing. The only thing, I'm not even gonna try talk anymore. I just feel sad, man. I was gonna say, it's not the only thing weird that's been going on tonight with Slav disconnecting. It's also how I can't talk all of a sudden. But yeah, at least it's a point for Granit.
Start at the top floor. It's the whole fight to start up upstairs, and then the team that tends to walk away with an advantage still ends up turning things around into a bit of a loss. And I think in that case, it was 2 defenders that died upstairs. So yes, they're at a constant disadvantage. You always can play as the attackers around trades. If ever you have a numbers advantage, just play from like the 4 versus 3 or the 3 versus 2. If you keep on trading, eventually you'll be the only one left with someone to trade, and you will win the round as a result. So played by Granit. They dealt with them pretty well. Got themselves in from multiple angles and made sure they had all these crossfires set up. And in fact, most importantly, were able to rotate away from Dirt Tunnel when they identified they wouldn't have enough time to push down there. So that last second decisiveness, at least picking something up for them. And they're now at match point. Final time we might see this site being played. We are onto Church and Arsenal on the downstairs once again.
Again, I have to point out how detrimental a loss would be here for GamerLegion, one of the teams, themselves included, that people are hoping to see at the top 4 here. Not hoping, believing to see in the top 4 a team that was so close to qualify the Challenger League, and a lot of, I would say, unfortunate circumstances. This is probably the only game where we can actually say that, though. All the others have been down to their own performances or lack thereof. So this could be very risky for them to get back into the round, or sorry, into the league, grabbing the points. Anywho, we're off to see now if GamerLegion can pull 2 rounds together in a row, secure that point.
It's been a quite game for Tedis as well. That's the weird one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you jinxed him.
He's not been playing on like a fragging role, really. That's been Hayes and Hernus today, but I don't know. Given how we saw him perform in week 1, was it like 18-8 or something he went?
Yeah. He's had some standout performances, and his very first one was 10-0-0, so it's he's had some standout performances. But this is also one of the reasons why I've ranked personally Hernus a bit higher than Tedis, is because of Hernus's consistency compared to Tedis. Tedis has these amazing moments where he's just popping off and being very, very finished, and then all of a sudden he can be very quiet. Despite, you know, in contrast to his team chat comments sometimes. But anywho, still all members left alive here, 1 minute into the round, and that's I wouldn't say a first, but it's not very often we've seen that this game that no encounters have happened, and it's like you can tell both teams are kind of taking this trying to just.
The big difference I'm noticing here is that 5 are on site as well. Historically, they basically had 1 or 2 roaming every single round, but they're playing this turtle strat that, to be fairness, in quite a weird way, we criticised Granit for back in round number 1, saying, yeah, you're playing a little too passively there, giving them too much room to play, and you aren't being aggressive enough off site. This time round, given how the momentum of the game is going, i.e. Granit have won the last 3 rounds back-to-back, including this site in the last round, I think this is the right play right now. To be able to play more defensively is going to help them. They will find a trade here for a kill. Eastwood goes down early on as the attacks start coming in through Kitchen, and Ted is poking very aggressively there, looking through the floor to try and find a kill. Just going to sit and wait and dare someone to try and drop through there and go for a plant.
And this is a potential downside here from GamerLegion to play this turtle strap, because it allows Granit Gaming so much control of his site. Oh no, the diffuser outside of dirt. Well spotted there, Alex. Thank you very much. Still 1 minute left on the clock though, and Rotko obviously won't know that he has the diffuse kit over there. It's not entirely inside either, so Oscar shouldn't have a big problem getting it. But still, it's a delay, and a potential counter there as well, but Oscar is lucky there that Rotko doesn't clip off his head. A bit aggressive there from Rotko now that we just talked about how they were turtling. But anywho, Still,
That
through
could
the
just win
three
the round.
situation, that
Like,
could have been just a round.
if he lost that fight, that would have been round to GamerLegion then, because there's no way the rest of the team members have time to recover that diffuser and get back to going for a plan. Into the final 30 seconds, and Oscar has returned with the team. So they're in a spot to start making something happen here. Main stairs is going to be where they're trying to start this point off. They know someone's here in the back corner as well. Tedis real close. He still wins that gunfight, though. How do you give that one away for free? Tedis will lose, though, as he's reloading. Instead, takes this one back. Trades galore going forwards here. It's 2 versus 2, and Granit are in a spot to start look for this plant inside behind Paul's wall if they want to, but there's still someone holding close, I feel. Hayes has got to push in so aggressively right now to make this one work. The plant's going down. Does Oscar get away with it? Yes, he does. Steady's the hero of the moment, and they get it down. No way have they managed to make this one work for them. Mr. Officer, last man left alive. Can the stand-in make it work from inside a kitchen? Takes his position up here on the hatch as well as the C4 in hand. But no one's be playing down there, I'm afraid. Good man using it instead to open up some vision downstairs. And has the right idea because there is someone there. But Granit take the game, the round, everything is theirs. And GamerLegion, well, that slippery slope just got a whole lot more slippery.